In this video, I'm going to talk about why you need to have more than one exit strategy if you want to be a successful real estate investor. So tune in if you want to learn exactly why that is important. And if you're not familiar with me or my videos, my name is Greg Helbeck. I've bought well over 100 houses, and I've learned a lot of lessons along my 6-year journey as a real estate investor. This is the only thing I've ever done full-time. Once I graduated college, I immediately became a full-time real estate investor. So my goal on these videos is to be as helpful as possible and share a lot of the lessons that I've learned with you through this video, so you hopefully don't have to make those costly mistakes that I have made. So today's video is all about why you want to have more than one exit strategy every time you're buying a property. So obviously, the first reason why it's important is because at the end of the day, the investor with the most exit strategies is going to be always at an advantage against the investor with one exit strategy. So in our business, for example, we primarily like to buy properties and wholesale properties, which means we simply get a property under contract and then we either double close or assign the contract to a cash buyer and make a profit off the front and be done with the deal. However, if our sole business model was wholesaling and that's the only thing we could do, we would leave a lot of money on the table because there's a lot of deals that either we're competing with investors on and the margin shrinks, or there's just a scenario where it's going to be challenging to wholesale the property. However, the property is still a profitable deal. So we always like to have at least 2, if not 3 exit strategies on all of our properties. So I'm actually going to walk you through an example right now on a piece of real estate that we're planning to wholesale, but if we can't wholesale it, we're going to plan to close on the property and flip it ourselves. So long story short, lead came in from a Google website form, and seller is agreeing to sell us a house at a pretty good discount. I wouldn't say it's a home run, but definitely a base hit, if not a double. And we immediately got the property under contract and actually reached out to an investor who walked the property for us and said he'd actually take it off our hands for like a $15,000 assignment fee, nothing crazy. Usually we do double that. But I said, you know what? Never had to see it, never had to mess with it. This guy's ready to go, and let's just do it. So we agreed to do a deal, and we still don't have a contract signed from them, so I'm not sure if that's going to be working out or not. We will see. Hopefully by tomorrow we'll know exactly, as of this recording at least, tomorrow. We'll know if he's either going to move forward or not move forward. But in the event that he doesn't want to move forward and we can't wholesale it to someone else for some reason, maybe it's an access thing or maybe buyers just don't want it, we still know it's a good deal. So our second exit strategy is to simply buy the property, close on it ourselves, clean it up, make it look nice. I mean, it's actually in pretty good shape, so we're not going to have to do much work, and simply relist it on the MLS with a real estate agent and sell it for as much as we possibly can without having to rehab it because the house doesn't need a lot of work. So in that scenario, if we were only going to wholesale the house and our only exit strategy was pure wholesale, we would probably be leaving about $40,000 on the table because that's the profit. I ran the numbers today that we'll anticipate we'd make if we just flip the house ourselves. So listen, I don't want to do that because that does take time. There's capital involved. It takes another 4 or 5 months. So I'd rather just get paid up front right away than have to fuck around with a rehab or a potential rehab. But at the end of the day, we're going to buy the house no matter what because we're going to keep our word with the seller and we're going to do what we say we're going to do. So if you're a real estate investor and you're banking on one exit strategy, you got to change your business model a little bit. I'm not saying to completely just be buying everything under the sun, doing 9 different exit strategies, but I'm just saying to you right now, if you have the ability to close on properties, right? If let's just say you're a wholesaler and your intention is to assign contracts, if you're getting good deals and for some reason the buyer flakes out or the seller won't let anyone inside or whatever the case might be, if you can just close on that property yourself, assuming your numbers work, you're always going to be at an advantage because you're going to be in full control of the deal. That's another reason why it makes sense to close on properties, or why it makes sense to have the ability to close on properties, because you're in full control of the entire transaction, right? When you're wholesaling a house and you can't close or don't want to close or have no ability to close, you're ultimately at the mercy of the buyer, right? So if the buyer dicks you around and the buyer decides to get flaky or not close or delay the closing, you don't have any leverage, right? But if you're going to close on the property either way, you can tell the buyer, you're either going to close on the day we're going to close, or I'm going to keep your deposit and I'm going to buy it myself, right? And when you do that, it allows you to negotiate with a lot more strength with the other party, because if the buyer knows that you have to wholesale it and you can't close on it, they're going to jerk you around and they're not going to really feel bad about it because, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I don't do that with wholesalers, but other buyers do that with other wholesalers, and it is what it is. At the end of the day, you got to control what you have control over. So if you're watching this and let's say you're a new wholesaler or you want to get into real estate, and you can't fathom paying $300,000 for a house or $200,000 or even $100,000 for a house, I'll tell you what, Money always flows to good deals. So if you can get good at deal finding, which is deal sourcing, whatever you want to call it, marketing basically and negotiating, if you can get good at bringing consistent deals to the table that actually are deals, which means that someone can make a profit, whether it's a rental or a flip, you're never going to have an issue closing on properties. Because worst case scenario, you could partner up with someone like me and I can buy it and we can flip it together and we can like do a profit share, right? So if you focus on getting good deals and you can't close, you need to align yourself with an investor in your local market. Hey, if you're in my local market, you can work with me, shameless plug, that can close on the property because you're going to be in full control of the deal then. Like let's say a new investor came to me and they said, hey, I was going to wholesale this house. I can't close on it for some reason. Seller needs to close in 2 weeks. Craig, can you help me? I would say I would look at the deal and make sure it's a deal. And if it was a deal, I would use either my own money or one of my private investors' money or a hard money loan to close on that deal fast, take the thing from start to finish, and have both of us make a profit. So you got to align yourself with someone who has the capital, has the experience, has the track record to take properties down. If you're a wholesaler, if you do that one thing, I'm telling you, you're going to have a lot more confidence negotiating with sellers. Because at the end of the day, if a seller says, are you the actual buyer for my property and you're going to close on it no matter what, you can say that answer yes with confidence, right? But if you're a wholesaler and you can't close on the property and the seller asks you, hey, are you the real buyer for my property? By the way, they never really ask that. I'm just making this up. Maybe like 1 out of 50 will say that. And you can't close, you're going to be like, I have partners and blah, blah, blah. And they're going to be like, this person's full of shit. So at the end of the day, know that if you can close, you're going to have a lot more leverage in the negotiation. And if you do that one trick, I guarantee you it's going to make you a more successful investor. If you're new to this channel, subscribe, like the video. If you're watching on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you're watching, if you can, support it by sharing it, liking it, commenting on it, it would mean a lot to me. I just want to get some good feedback from these videos. I mean, obviously, if you've been watching this, I put a lot of content out. So if you do think the content is valuable, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're local to San Diego or you're local to the Hudson Valley, which are the 2 areas that I operate in, and you have a deal you want to do with me, email me, greg@velocityhousebuyers.com. Once again, that's Greg, G-R-E-G. I don't know why I'm using my hand to spell my name. At Velocity, V-E-L-O-C-I-T-Y, house, like there's a house on the street, buyers, B-U-Y-E-R-S.com. Greg@velocityhousebuyers.com. I'll see you on the next video.